Greetings, friends. Welcome to Black Metal and Brews. I'm Ben, and apparently I'm your host, or at least I'm the fellow unfortunate enough to sit in front of this camera today. Tonight is a rather cold night. It's been a rather cold day. Today we had our first snowfall of the season here in Portland, Oregon, and a little bit of hail. So I thought it's time for a winter warmer, specifically Fireside Chat. Because we're going to be taking a good moment with this, I decided to do our pour pretty quickly. Our tape is already playing due to a rather lengthy intro. The more knowledgeable among you may know that we are currently listening to the opening track from Ash Borer's album Cold of Ages. This song, Descended Lamentations, is fabulous, in my opinion. Probably a word I use too much, but I mean it. It's been a few months since we've had a beer and some music together, and I thank you all for your patience. The beer Fireside Chat that we're going to be discussing tonight is brought to you, this is Sesame Street now, brought to us by 21st Amendment, a brewery out of San Francisco who do a pretty darn good job. I'll admit their affinity for cans and rather kind of cutesy, almost cartoonish designs had initially put me off from them a couple years ago, of course before I tried any of their beer. Also the fact that the first and only thing I saw from them for quite a while was their summer watermelon beer, which I still haven't tried. I've heard great things about it, and maybe one day I'll try it. Obviously not in November, as it's not available anyway. Here's the tape, since I did not show it. Cold of Ages, Ash Borer. Forget who released the cassette. I believe it was possibly just Psychic Violence, or maybe Pasanta Urfolk. Psychic Violence being Ash Borer's kind of in-house label. I know that the CD was handled by Profound Lore. This is just a great album. This band's always done right by me. I'm sure most of you are already familiar with them. On a chilly day, I'm out of ideas. It was too obvious of a pick not to pick. I've also got some crackers here because I have a six-pack of this stuff, and something that I've tried and noticed last time I had this beer, which was yesterday, I initially found some of the flavors to dissipate. I'm not sure if it's because I became accustomed to them, so I've got some stuff to cleanse my palate. Let's give it a shot and see if maybe tonight we'll have a little better luck with some stuff to keep me fresh. So you can see that's thick and dark, caramel in both nose and color. Great little kick there. You can see the foam is really holding up here. Nice frothy head, but not so thick, and it's wet and not very dry. Well, I guess obviously. Getting real strong gingerbread, caramel, toffee flavors out of this beer. Also a little bit of almost an overpowering sweetness at first. They kind of almost so sweet that it bites, like an artificial sweetener. I'm not sure what to make of that. It's not bad, it's not great. That aspect. The beer as a whole, I'm finding agreeable. We're going to sit with it for a minute, and maybe it'll improve as it goes on. So, in a moment here, we're going to have another sip, chew on a cracker, see if maybe the spice will retain. Last time I had it, as I said, it just, after my initial few sips, I feel like it kind of faded into a kind of caramel malty, I don't know. It wasn't as consistent from start to finish. I'm hoping that that was on me, not the beer itself. It's interesting, because for all the head it's got, the carbonation is relatively low here. It's not quite syrupy thick, but it's got a creaminess to it. The the slightest tingle on the tongue, but not really a lot of carbonation. The hop presence is minimal, but again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. So, hopefully this isn't too loud on the camera. Never thought I'd be eating on YouTube. In case it's not obvious, these crackers are not salted, nothing. I made it as neutral as I could so that I could approach this properly. Alright. So in theory, I've slightly refreshed myself. I guess had I been fully prepared, I may have had something to sniff or something, but I'm sure this will give me at least an idea. Okay. There's definitely that kind of biscuity cookie sort of feeling to this. I don't know how well it's holding up. Again, not necessarily a bad thing. If anything, the spice is almost too strong up front, and perhaps as it fades, it kind of hits its peak in the middle of consumption. The last few sips of this last time I had it were a little lackluster, and the first few sips are almost overpowering. So I feel, if anything, you know, the first 10% and the last 10% are possibly not ideal, but the majority portion of this beer is a just malty, drinkable, totally solid drink for a colder day. And given that hours ago when the sun was still up, I was walking home, I saw it was 38 degrees out, which really isn't that cold, but it was cool. I'm sure it's considerably colder outside right now, and you want something dark, strong, tide you over. This is 7.9% alcohol by volume, so let's hope that'll, I guess, help warm me up, although really, alcohol should not be the answer in that case. I do have many more layers of clothing, I'm just not wearing them right now. Let me take another sip. That's nice. Yeah. So, kind of, as it fades into a crisper, just more blended experience, I feel it's at its peak. Makes me happy. I'm glad these come in a 6-pack. On the album here that we're listening to, obviously this is a bigger name release, and any number of black metal releases can coincide with the concept of cold. Like, while I don't have them, I could easily pick just about any Immortal album for one. Again, another obvious grab. Or pretty much anything from the North could have done, you know, had I a Wormlust cassette, if they even released their own cassette, I could have done that. But happy to present this as this is regionally appropriate, being that they're originally from Northern California, generally now just the Pacific Northwest overall, although I feel they have successfully escaped or grown beyond the Cascadian black metal tag, which I feel was too narrow even for their earlier releases, but especially now with Cult of Ages and their most recent EP, Bloodlands, Ashbore's gone above and beyond anything that their initial demos and earliest recordings would have promised. So I feel that a night with this album and this beer is maybe not going to be an inherently warm one, but it certainly fits the atmosphere as we approach darker, colder, shorter days. In the meantime, I am going to allow you all to get off YouTube and get to your own drinks and music. Tell me what you're enjoying as the weather cools down. be it music, drinks, or anything. If there's something you'd like to see, something you'd like to recommend, leave it in the comments below. Drink safely, drink healthily. I'll see you next time. Cheers.